All right, guys, new track alert. ARCA at Circuito de Navarra. And I can't roll my R's, so I apologize for that. Like for most new road courses, I don't do them live. I do the lap and then go back over it because these are too much focus for me to do live. So I'm going to play this without talking through it. Just do the lap, and then we'll talk about the lap, and then we'll talk about race strategy. All right, so 101.32, I know that you can easily, from here, get into the 1 minute bracket. I'm just not particularly skilled at this type of stuff, and I'll just point out every single mistake I made in every single corner. So run up doesn't really matter. You just need to make sure that you can kind of get a straight enough exit off the corner so that you get a good run up to here. So the first set of corners here are basically all just one turn to me. So mistake number one, I really do want to get to the curb here, and I miss it, but I couldn't get to the curb because if I turn my wheel anymore, it locks up the right front, and you really just stop rotating. So the fix to that is I turn just a little bit early, so probably a little bit closer to that 100 than not. But that's kind of okay. That's just a time loss. That's not a real big loss. So here's the big deal. So downshifting into second, you got to do all these downshifts from fourth to third to second to first when your wheel is as straight as possible. The fourth to third isn't that sketchy, so you can kind of do it with a little bit of wheel. But you see how I straighten out my wheel? I try to get all the turn I can, and then I straighten out my wheel to downshift to second. And then I just wait in second and do a double apex here. I actually could have carried more speed into here. In a perfect world, you want to go all the way up to the curb over here. But to be quite honest with you, this speed is very hard to judge. So this will just take more practice. But basically, I wanted to carry an amount of speed that washes me up to the curb here. I didn't quite get there, but kind of good enough. And then right in the middle of this double, triple apex, whatever you want to call it. Well, let's count the apexes. So, one apex, two apexes. So it's like a triple apex. 1, 2, 3. It's all kind of one sequence. So after the second apex, I need to get my wheel straight again to downshift to first. And then I immediately turn in, and you want to get a late apex into this third apex here. So slow the car down enough in first gear so that you can kind of turn all your car in late into the corner and get a good run off. Now you immediately need to get set up on the right side here because you need to kind of early shift in a second. The gear here's a little awkward. You're going to want to run out first, but if you run out first, you're going to chip out and have to shift as you're turning in, and that doesn't really work too well. So I like to do an early shift. Sorry, a little bit before that. Little bit of an early shift. You can run that gear a little bit farther out, but if you do, you're not going to be ready to turn in. So a little bit of an early shift, and then just attack this curb here. It's gonna come at you really quick. It's a little blind. You just need to attack that curb, and then you got to keep at least your lefts on this curb to stay on track. So once the sequence of corners is done, you're not done yet. You got to immediately go as far right as you can, attack this curb with a little bit of a short shift, and then off that curb. And now again, you're gonna want to turn in when you see this curb start here. but we can actually attack this curb pretty hard. So I turn in a little bit before then. I really could get on this curb. I don't have a reason not to be on this curb. It doesn't really do anything bad to you. So I could have been even more aggressive with how much I turned in. And then you gotta keep your kind of middle of the car from this grass section right here. You can dip your rights onto it. Right front suspension. Oh, it looks like I didn't. Oh, sorry. Ow. Well, I didn't. Maybe you don't want any tire at all, because I was getting off tracks here. Oh, it looks like I ran over it a bit there and didn't get an off track. So it looks like you can do a little bit of your tires on there, but not a lot. So just to go over that one more time. Attack this curb. So the last two curbs, you attack both. No brake needed, just a little lift. I mean, I did a little tiny brake tap to help rotate my car, but if you turn in at the right time, you shouldn't need that brake tap. And then there's gonna be a big bump right here. Big bump. I brake just a little bit after it. If you brake right after that bump, you're gonna be in a very conservative position to make the corner. The later you brake, obviously the more sketchy it is. Like you can see I was wheel hopping there. Maybe if I broke a little bit earlier, I wouldn't have had to wheel hop. But it looks like I might have had some wheel input there when I was downshifting from second or third to second, or second to first even, which made it a little wheel hoppy. Try to take this curb as late as possible. With these hairpin type curbs in the ARCA car, you're really trying to get like a late apex without overslowing your car. When I'm losing time to like the road pro guys, like for instance, Bobby Zielinski's running about a second faster than me, 8 or 9/10 faster than me. I'm losing most of my time on these braking zones just because I am not the best braker in the world. Right here, I probably should have gone to third and kind of driven through the curb here. So I kind of stayed a little shy of the curb. You see how the grass is even a little bit cut out here. I think you can take this a lot more aggressively and probably go into third gear. And that would help me set up here too. I had a kind of bad angle coming out of here because we need to get left like instantly. Notice the big problem I had was I oversteered coming out of the corner trying to get too far left. And then that left me with like really bad real estate. And I was very lucky to even make this corner without locking up. In reality, I think with this sequence here, if I dive a little bit more into the curb, maybe not necessarily into the grass, but at least into the curb, it'll help me stay a little bit further left on the exit. And then I can immediately get my angle sorted out so that I can brake in first gear coming up the hill here. Again, hairpin type corner, we're gonna want late apex to get early throttle. But yeah, this is a pretty fun track. I enjoyed this. Enjoyed it quite a bit. So race strategy, I would really be careful on how much you're stomping your first gear throttle, especially mid-late in the run. And then I hate short shifting in this car in road courses. It wheel hops, but for those hairpins, it's you need it. But especially for the first set of corners here, I don't love short shifting, even though it's technically the fastest. It just feels the least consistent for me because that's how I feel like the car just gets out and starts chattering and wheel hopping and all that good stuff. But just like always with the ARCA car on road courses, just keep your rear tires under you as much as possible because those are what's going to be getting you your lap time as the race goes on. All right. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope to see you all on the track.